Welcome to another podcast of Adeel Pirzada podcast. Today we got another exciting show, another exciting podcast. But before I discuss what we're doing, I want to introduce my co-host, Mr. Kevin Padillo.
Yeah, let's get it. Awesome, everyone. Welcome to today's Adeel Pirzada podcast, episode 29. Glad to be here. Glad to dive in. We're going to be diving more deeper into what we covered last week about duplex construction. I know it was a great hit. And Adeel will be introducing the topic. And also, Adeel told me I shouldn't mention Pircon Group, but that's who we are.
No, I said maybe we talk more about people than Pircon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, just about us, Pircon Group, we are general contractors. We both do work, mainly commercial, but we've done work in residential and we are continuing to do work in residential. So just in case you had that wondering and you're wondering why, I thought you do commercial only, you always promote commercial. We do residential. We have a couple great residential developments coming up and I'll be soon to introduce you to that, but that's who we are and what we do, and our website's down below if you'd like to learn more about us and our services.
Yeah, we basically will do anything that's tough and hard and challenging, and it has to do with construction. I think that's how I look at it. The residential projects that we don't do, it's like basement construction and like home interior. We still do some of them, but we don't do it at a massive amount because they're not challenging. They're not hard enough, and we'll have, some other contractors do that kind of work where we try to get ourselves involved more complicated stuff where is more value for our customer and clients. Especially commercial projects. They're not that hard in terms of construction, especially offices, pretty simple. But because they're in a commercial environment, so there are certain ratings and certain inspections you have to complete. And then you also have to worry about the bylaws and the building codes because it isn't involve public and, it's so there are things like that. And then the access routes and then the working hours and then what you can do and then certified contractors. And so that's why you need a real GC, a general contractor, to take care of that stuff. So, yeah. Otherwise, the stuff in even some commercial projects, pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Kitchens and some of the other, within the retail construction is tough, but yeah. Okay, so back to our topic, which is we were talking about duplexes and basically semi-detached homes.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that episode, go to the previous episode library and you can see that episode, one of our top viewed episodes ever so far.
Yeah, and rightfully so, because there is a need of housing, and then it's a very it's a next thing after you have a single family, and it's the next thing you go towards duplexes. Especially with the pricing of with the homes and the inflation that we had is one thing, but everything is expensive. Especially the new homes are expensive. The housing is just expensive as is, and the new homes are expensive. So the cost of construction and cost of creating those homes is way more expensive now. And when you looking to size down, single family would be the most desirable place that you would want, right, for yourself. The one, you want to go lower, maybe you don't want to go to the condominium, so you want to go to the duplexes, so semi-detached homes or fourplexes, or you can go to townhomes before you want to actually, go to the condos. And condos, multifamily, they have their own kind of unique part. There is a lot of things that I like about multifamily, especially for renting, especially when it comes to rent. And then many other ways too. not so much ownership, but we'll go talk about that maybe some other time. So right now, talking about duplexes and
I've seen some really great duplexes actually.
yeah,
I drove around in my area and there's actually some really nice duplexes. It looks like a house, but then you see that it's connected.
Honestly,
and it looks really nice.
I have lived in house, and especially the new homes they build. They're so narrow. They're on such a narrow lot, and I've actually owned few duplexes in the past, and I sold them. Don't have anything right now in a duplex, but yeah. So some of these houses are so narrow. I have owned even my current house. The one side there's nothing anyway because they're built on a zero lot, and then you can only have windows on one side, and the other side is basically a firewall in a way. Or also it's like it's like privacy too for your neighbor, and then you're too close to each other. So yeah, you're not peeking into their stuff. So
zero lot is basically there's no other side. There's only one side to walk by.
So zero lot means so you got a property line. So you have a land, right? And then you have your property line, which is your lot, which is your land.
Yeah.
So one side of the house is built right on the property line.
Yeah, okay.
And the other side has some distance between the house and the property line. And then the other house for them is built right on that property line. So it's just to save the land, right? And then they're too close to each other. But I kind of like the idea, but I don't because they're too narrow, especially those lots that are too narrow. Like they exactly leave that distance that needs to be there. I don't like that, but I don't think there is anything wrong building on a zero lot, building right on the property line.
Right, okay.
But make sure you get the yard on the other end, and you get quite a bit of a distance. So anyways, that's my personal preference, but a lot of people don't like these zero lots where you're building right on the property line. It's just too narrow, too congested. It just doesn't look like a house. But either way, what I'm saying, because it's happening because the cost of housing is going up, right? It's keep going up, and it's been happening for years. So that's why it becomes smaller and smaller, and they become narrow and narrow, and then new bylaws come out to how to build them, more smaller and more closer to each other.
First question I have for you, Adeel. Is there such thing as the perfect lot for a duplex?
Yeah, there is. There are lots that are just so nice, like so smooth. You just go in and just start digging pretty much. Because there are tough lots, not even just like how you get them approved, is because where they're located and where the services are and how the elevation is, and if they're in a slope, right? You're living on a lot right now that is RC2, and it's a duplex lot pretty much. And it's on a huge slope.
Yeah, it's freaking.
And
it's
then
like a hill.
It's on a main road, so it has the services that may tie to the main road. And then so yes, that's a difficult lot. And then the perfect lot is like the services right there in the front, and it's a very quiet street, and the land is graded and it's pretty much almost to the road grade. It's pretty much leveled. There's no tree. There's no existing
There's a couple
home.
Trees in my lot.
Yeah, I'm just saying a perfect lot.
Perfect. Okay, I thought you said mine.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, yours is not graded at all. It's on a huge slope on both sides.
Trees everywhere.
Yeah, your backyard is like, I don't know, at least 20 feet up than from the front side. So those are difficult lots, and you would need someone really experienced to kind of deal with that.
Okay.
At least I would think that way. Just to start with, you want to go with an easy lot. Sometimes there's public trees, so you could get involved with that. So if there's no trees and no fencing, no house, graded lot, nice on a 50-foot lot on a quiet street, that's what I love. I'll take that all day long.
Nice. Would you be able to share the perfect traits of a great lot for a duplex? What are the great traits to look for?
So we were going through that, and we discussed that. In what terms? In what terms do you mean?
You know, actually, I have a better question because, you know, I want to make sure the audience has confidence in us. I'm wondering, would you be able, before we get into the duplex great lot, would you be able to share your experience with duplexes? And because I want to show how qualified we are, and people maybe they're wondering why should we listen to you? Why do they want to listen to us about duplexes?
Okay, I'll just make it's very quick. Okay.
Yeah.
Beside my experience in real estate, so I've been in real estate since 2007, 2006. So I don't know how many years is that. It's good 18 years, 17, 18 years. So I've seen everything, and I've actually worked for developers at that time in my real estate career that were doing this. I would actually find them lots, right? And they will take that lot and they'll build a duplex on it. But I'll go even deeper, and I worked for a company that actually built communities. So if that means anything. So I worked for a company that actually, you know, we were doing everything. We had clients that actually build communities.
And, that could be so broad. Would you say that maybe exactly in communities you're doing? Because it's so cool, and maybe they don't know. They're like, how did he build the communities? How? How did you do that?
So how we look at a piece of land, how you see it, a piece of lot, and we can build a duplex. That's how a developer will look at a big piece of land, right? And they build on it. And that's how you get new communities, because these developers will buy big chunks of land, and then they sit down with their designers and they'll build a community based on all the bylaws the city has provided. Yeah. So each city would say, hey, this is how I want to see our city to be built, right? We want duplexes, we want single families, we want, townhomes. But I mean, it's up to the developer. They don't have any pressure, but the city has categories of what you can build.
Gotcha.
In that area, okay? And not in that new area, but in the city, within the city, in that land, okay? So, and they'll tell you exactly what you can do, what you cannot do. You can go this much high, you can go this much wide, you can go this much narrow. You just have to play within, right? So these developers would hire the designers that works with the city bylaws, and then they will develop the entire community, and they'll go back to Mr. Developer, just like what we're trying to preach you here, how you should do a duplex, or you can get started on that, right? It's the same process. They will find a piece of land, then they'll have someone buy them the land, or have a broker that broke the deal, right, for them, whatever, and then they'll get a designer. Then they'll get it to the city, get all the permits done, and get it approved. Then they start building a land development, right? So they start building community, and then they'll build the roads, build the lots, build the parks, build the commercial areas, all that stuff.
For sure. I think one thing, I want to share this with you. I think you didn't share this often. I think you missed this. I want to include this, what Adeel has done in the past, is the underground services that are very important for a lot, because underneath the ground, underneath the house, underneath the foundation is the water, the electricity, the gas, the internet lines, the Shaw. All of these cables are being installed, all these pipes and sewage and drainage are all there to service and provide services for your home. And that's what Adeel has done with the companies he has worked for. He has built huge communities, and that's a huge aspect in finding the perfect lot, making sure that they have services. Otherwise, you will have to pay on top.
Yeah, I'll just cover something out very quickly, right?
Yeah.
When I and I think we did that in one of our very early podcasts, talking about construction and different types of construction and different types of land. Whenever a community gets built, there are few things that need to happen, and that's how it gets built, like major things. So when a developer And then maybe, one day we'll do a very deep, like go in deep depth and then talk about this, how to actually develop a piece of land as I'm learning it myself. But this is how they would do it, right? So a developer buy a piece of land, and then they have to do these things in a step in order to get it to where you buy a house from a builder. Okay. Step number one, they have to get the land graded. Okay. So when you buy land, there's grass on it. There's maybe a pile of, mud on it. There's some soil here. There's this, there's that. There's a whole bunch of different things are happening. Maybe there's a whole bunch of garbage, whatever, right? They get it all cleaned up. And they have to, so they have a plan, right? They have a plan exactly how you would have a plan for building a home. They have a plan to build a community where the roads are and things are. And they'll go in phases and they grade the land. They'll flatten out the land. They'll carve out the road where the lot's going to be. They kind of design that, okay? Working with heavy equipment, graders and scrapers and backhoes and tractors and, all you see when you see those yellow equipment beeping in your backyard if you're living in a near community, that's what's happening. They're just developing that piece of area. So that's number one. Second is where what Kevin was talking about, underground. Then the underground crew comes in, okay, and they will start installing services, manholes and concrete pipes and fire hydrants and things like that. Ooh. So all the other infrastructure, the shallow utilities, the deep utilities, those all go in. So that's the second thing. The third will be the road crew. So after that's done, then to start building the road, right? The fourth would be the builders. Now, once the road is done, now the builders start coming in. So developer said, come on, builders, come on in. So like our friend, Mr. Shane, will come in, and then they'll start building homes, right? And the fifth, you move into those new homes. So, powerful. I mean, there is other steps within, and then like when are the lights are going to go up, and the traffic lights, and parks, and schools, and commercial. There's so much that is within the sequence how it happens, but I'm just giving you the major bullet points, like how it would happen. Yeah,
that's really cool. I think this is really cool. I could just see a big truck just driving through bare land, digging, putting some big sewers. That's so cool. I love that stuff. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's like, you're in little pieces, you build this entire community, which becomes the entire city. All these little communities put together. It's a town. It's a city. So people live there, and families live there, and kids grow. So it's such, like, building a community. It's so close to me, right? Building these, and I'm so glad that the exposure that I have had in life and the experience that I've gained. It's so powerful,
For sure. I know we kind of had a big detour there with sharing our qualifications. Kind of going back to the key question is, what are the great traits of a good lot for a duplex? Adeel, would you share your thoughts on that?
Listen, like, there are so many things to look for. I mean, we're really concentrating to build it, but there's a whole aspect about the money side of it, right? What are you building it for? And then you got to look at from the real estate end of it. Is it, do you need it somewhere in the nicer community? And then what kind of road? Do you want schools nearby or not? All those things. So
location.
Yeah, location is a big thing, right? And then depending on what you're using it, are you going to build it and sell it? Are you going to build and rent it? Are you going to build and live in it? So those are also the things to look at. But talking about just on the construction perspective, and then we'll talk about real estate too, but on the construction end, you just want a simple and easy lot, right? Like I explained, it's pretty flat. It's no trees. If there is a tree, make sure it's in your property line so you own those trees. Yeah. And then you can because when you get into public trees, also becoming a little bit of work.
Right.
Yeah, right. So it's not on a slope. There's not too many power poles. There's not a power pole in front of it in the backside. So that would be the most easiest lot. When you have those things, like you got power poles and there's like a whole bunch of trees and there are things that you don't understand, like you see something, that's when you really want to get professionals involved. Because you might not be able to build it. Like if you have a power pole and it just happens to be a certain location, but that is very, important to the project, you may have to move it and it's going to cost a lot of money, or it may not even make sense to get that lot. It's just too much work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important. If you have not done this before, hire a professional. That's what I would recommend. So a designer, a good designer.
So how would you, like, from a construction point of view, let's say you're looking at a lot, how would you know it already has the services ready and you don't need to dig into the road and put a freaking drain there?
You would always have to do that, because if there was a single family home on it,
it's only enough services for that one unit.
Exactly. You always have to dig up, abandon the old services, like remove them, and then get the new services. You would always have to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know we're kind of wrapping up onto the 21-minute mark. Anything you want to share? Any key parts that maybe some bullet points that we could all gain from you in terms of finding the right lot?
Yeah, I would say if you got the means to do this, right, then you want to find the professionals, okay, who are involved with this stuff, who do this kind of stuff. And then let's say, and then there are actually companies out there, and we work with few. And also, like, maybe you want a real estate team, okay? To do it right way, this is what you want. You want a realtor on your side, and then you want an architect or a designer or design build contractor, someone like Pircon on your side. And then you just kind of go with that, and then one gives you the information, and then you get it checked with the second one, with the architects, right? With the design team. So you get it from your real estate agents, and the ones that are qualified doing this, and and they have done this before, so they can get you closer to your goal. If you get someone new who are not familiar with it, they're just, they may screw up the whole thing for you. So find someone who's experienced, who's done this before. They get you the lot in the area for the price you're looking for. Take that lot, get it checked by the designer. Say, hey, this is what I'm interested in. What do you think? Right? So, and if it works for you, then you can move on to the next step. One thing I do want to add quickly to this, finding the whole thing about the lot. We're considering that this lot is already zoned for what we want to do. So this is already an RC2 lot that allows to build duplex or semi-detached home. If you don't have the RC2 lot, then this is a whole new chapter that we would have to look into. So if you don't have the right zoning, then you can also change the zoning of that lot, of that specific lot, and get it to RC2 and then build duplex. So maybe mostly you're going to be RC1. That would allow you to do an RC2. Okay. So if you're an RC1 and you got that perfect lot that I'm talking about, it's nice and flat, no trees, no power poles, no, maybe not even a house. It's just ready to go, empty. Yeah. I like those lots. And let's say it's RC1, you can convert that to RC2. There is a process, which is called redesignation of the lot. So you have to rezone this. Actually, we're coming up with our step guide for this, even on the rezoning. I did a project on it a long time ago, and I have like a book that I wrote about it. I'm looking into doing a further work into that, and then maybe we'll have it ready for you guys soon. But for now, I think you just get the professionals involved, get their help, and you'll get there closer, faster.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 29. Couple things. Please hit subscribe. Also, if you like this episode, I know you loved it, hit the thumbs up button. This helps the algorithm. This will help more people see this, and more people will be able to gain access to our content, exclusive content. Thank you, everyone, for your time today and your attention. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.